Hi again then guys, so we've got another Gran Turismo 6 drag setup for you today, and this time it's for a hugely popular drag car and top speed car in general, and one of the most highly requested cars for me to do a drag tune for. It is of course the Nissan GT-R as tuned by Nismo. So you want racing soft tyres obviously. For suspension we've got the ride height as high as possible on the front, as low as possible on the back. Springs as low as possible front and rear. Damper, or the dampers, for compression you want as high as possible, extension as low as possible, likewise with anti-roll as low as possible because it's already got pretty heavy handling. Neutral camber and toe to get as much tyre contact to the road as possible. As you can see, I have adjusted the brake bias. You don't have to do that, but increasing the front does bring the car to a stop quicker. For the gearbox, we've got an auto setting of 249, as you can see. Then for the individual gears, we've gone for 2950, 1940, 1375, 1035, 830, and 700 with a final drive of 3. For the diff, the highest initial torque, high acceleration, and low braking bias. For the centre diff, you can pretty much tailor this to what you plan on using the car for. I've got it on 3070 because that's a pretty good all-round torque distribution setting. If you plan on using it for shorter drags, you'll want to increase it more up towards the 50-50 range, and lower if you want to, really. As far as power, we've got all the power upgrades obviously, and as always I will be using NOS. You cannot adjust the downforce. I have taken the rear wing off of this one though. I believe you can adjust the downforce if you leave the wing on, but I'm not sure about that. Obviously that's down to personal preference. You definitely want weight loss on this one because it is a pretty heavy car. We will be using an auto box as always, and traction control is obviously turned off. So like we said, this is one of the most popular drag cars and top speed cars in general, and we are putting up against actually the same car this time, another GT-R Nismo. It's actually the same car but with a different tune, and the tune that we're putting it up against is actually another one of my tunes. It's actually the top speed tune for this car, which is already a 300 mph car. So let's see how it compares. So off the line, both of them are obviously very quick. I think I may be running a slightly higher torque ratio on my top speed tune, which is why it can keep up with it off the line. But as you can see, mid-range, and especially once you get into the top end of performance, the gap really starts to open up. This tune is well over a second quicker than my top speed tune over a longer drag, which, considering, as we said, my other tune already did 300 under its own power without NOS, to be that much quicker again is pretty rapid. Now, this is not the fastest of Nismo tunes without NOS. Some people get it to do about 309 or even 312 I've seen without NOS. This does not do that. This does 305 under its own power without NOS or slipstream, because it's not a top speed tune. This is purely an all-purpose drag tune for short and longer drags. In the quarter mile it does 7.6 seconds, which is among the quickest of Nismos, even ones that are specifically made for quarter mile. But as well as doing the quarter mile that quick, it will cover 11,000 metres or 7 miles in less than a minute and a half. So, as I said, it's an all-purpose drag tune for pretty much any drag distance. Now, as always, there are far too many times to list for this car in the description, but for the highlights, it hits 60 miles per hour in 1.2 seconds. It hits 100 in a frankly insane 2.6 seconds. It hits 200 miles per hour in 9.2, which is among the quickest in the game. It hits 300 miles per hour in 27.2 seconds. As we already said, quarter mile in 7.6. It will do the standing mile in 19.1. And as we already mentioned, again, it does the 7 mile drag, which in other words is from the start line to the corner, in 1 minute and 28 seconds, which is one of the quickest cars in the game. So for any who are interested in more the top speed tune, which is the one that this is up against, which although isn't as quick on its own, does have better handling in the corner. I'll put a link in the description to that tune as well if you're looking for a better handling tune rather than pure top speed. But I hope you guys find this tune setup helpful. It's certainly a very quick car. Not a huge fan of it myself, but I know a lot of people are. So I hope you find this helpful. Hope you find it enjoyable to drive. Hope you win plenty of drags with it. And if you did find it helpful, feel free to subscribe. I put out new top speed tunes every day, new drag tunes every weekend. And as always, thanks for watching.